welcome to BBC News. The news today is about the developing world and the developed world, education, healthcare and standard of living. So I'll now pass you on to Peyton.
I am going to talk about education, about the developed and developing world. In the developed world, the female's education is 99% and the male's education is 99%. But in the developing world, the female's education is 12% and the male's education is 43%. The school buildings in the developed world are built with bricks and stone. In the developing world, the buildings are built with mud. In the developing world, they go to school for 4 to 6 years, but in the developed world, we go to school for 11 to 13 years. In the developed countries, they have 325 universities, but in the developing country, they don't have that many universities. Now I'll pass you on to Erin with the news.
Nowadays in developed countries, humans are dying of illnesses such as cancer and leukemia. In developed countries today, most humans, unfortunately, are taking strokes, brain hemorrhage and heart attacks. In developing countries, the young and elderly are more vulnerable to disease, and many people die of two diseases called typhoid and cholera. The government pays for treatment from the NHS in developed countries. The hospitals are kept to a high standard of cleanliness. They have lots of equipment which help save lives. In developing countries, charities are trying to raise money to help pay to educate people to be nurses and doctors, also to try and keep hospitals clean and warm. Developed countries, nurses and doctors save people's lives every day, and we have to count ourselves lucky to have high-class doctors and nurses like that. In developing countries, people have a very unequal chance of survival because they do not have such a high standard of nurses and doctors. I am now going to pass you on to Andrew, who is going to tell you about standard of living.
Hello, I am Andrew and I am going to talk about the developed world. In the developed world, the standard of living is very high. In developed countries, people live in big brick houses with several rooms and glass windows. They also have central heating so the house can be kept warm. They also have comfortable sofas and beds, clean water just at the turn of a tap, and clean toilet facilities. Most people in the developed world have cars, but if not, there is public transport, i.e. trains and buses. There are big supermarkets located around as well. In their spare time, people play on PlayStations, Xboxes, play football, watch TV, watch television and listen to iPods. We also have fast food restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King and KFC. For family nights out, we can go to the cinema, go bowling or go-karting. Now here's Angela telling us about the developing countries.
In the developing world, the standard of living is the opposite of the developed world. In the developing world, people live in mud huts or there is only one room and one small hole for a window. They do not have central heating, comfortable beds or sofas. They have to walk for miles to get clean water, and they do not have hygienic toilets. This means they can catch diarrheal diseases. They do not have cars, and the only transport they have is their bare feet. In their spare time, they run about in the mud, play with their friends, but they do not have equipment to play with.
Thank you for listening.